Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I used to think silence was harmless, the kind that fills a car on long drives or settles between two people who've been together long enough to understand each other without words. But that night, silence became something else entirely, a thin wall between what I believed about my life and what was actually happening behind it. It was a Friday evening in late October, the kind where the air feels crisp but not cold, and the road still hold a bit of heat from the sun. My wife, Emily, had asked if she could tag along as I drove her younger sister, Chloe, to a small get-together across town. Nothing unusual. We'd all had dinner earlier, and I didn't think twice when they decided to come with me rather than call an Uber. I was tired, content, and honestly just looking forward to a quiet drive. The car we own still has the old quirk where the Bluetooth connects automatically, but glitches sometimes, lowering the back speakers to almost nothing while the front ones stay normal. I knew this. Emily didn't, and because the radio display showed nothing playing, she assumed the car was silent. She thought I couldn't hear anything behind me. I didn't correct her. Why would I? It never mattered. Until it did. As I drove down the dimly lit highway, I heard the faint rustle of clothing, then the soft sound of Emily's voice. At first, I thought she was just talking to Chloe. But then her tone shifted, low, hesitant, carrying a weight I'd never heard from her before. "I can't keep pretending," she whispered. I felt a small knot form in my stomach, but I kept my eyes straight, my hand steady on the wheel. Maybe she was talking about work. She'd had a stressful week. She'd been overwhelmed. Maybe it was nothing. But then Chloe responded, her voice sharper, more awake. "You have to tell him at some point, Em. You can't keep living like this. It's not fair to either of you." My throat went dry. In the rear-view mirror, I could see only vague shapes, the blur of their silhouettes. Whatever they were discussing, it wasn't work. It wasn't life stress. It was about me. Emily let out a small, shaky breath. "Chloe, it's different when you're actually married to someone. You start convincing yourself you're still happy, that it's just a phase, that you're just tired or busy. And then one day you wake up and realize you haven't loved them in a long time." The words hit me with a force that made my fingers tighten around the steering wheel. My chest felt like someone had pressed a fist into it. The world outside looked the same, the passing lights, the dark sky, the steady white lines. But something inside me shifted so violently I could barely reconcile the two realities. My wife hadn't loved me in a long time. Chloe didn't hesitate. Then why stay? Why drag it out? Emily was quiet for several seconds, the kind of silence that feels like confession in itself. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked softly. "Because he's a good man. Because he tries. Because I don't have a single excuse that doesn't make me sound like the worst person alive." I swallowed hard, blinking slowly, letting my eyes adjust to the burn forming behind them. The worst part wasn't that she didn't love me. It was that she sounded guilty for it. Like she'd already decided I deserved better, but didn't know how to give me that freedom without destroying everything we'd built. Chloe asked, "Do you think he suspects?" "No," Emily said immediately. "God, no. He still looks at me like I'm the same girl he married. That's what makes this harder. He loves me so much. I don't know how to look at him and say I don't feel anymore." I felt something deep inside me slowly cave, like a quiet collapse of a structure I never realized was fragile. I kept driving, kept breathing, kept pretending that nothing in the world had shifted. But every word behind me chipped away at the life I thought I had. Then Emily said the one thing that tore through whatever strength I had left. "I don't want to break his heart, but staying feels like lying every day. And I'm so tired of lying." The ache that spread through my chest didn't come with rage or panic, just a hollow, sinking clarity. I realized then how easy it is for a man to live beside someone he loves deeply while having no idea how far she's drifted from him. I didn't react, didn't speak, didn't let my driving falter for even a second, because I needed to hear every unfiltered truth she thought I couldn't hear. By the time I pulled into Chloe's friend's driveway, my pulse had slowed into a numb, unfamiliar rhythm. Emily leaned forward, rested her hand lightly on my shoulder, the same way she always did. "Thanks for driving us," she said warmly, and I realized she had no idea she'd just broken me. I pulled away from the driveway with a calmness that didn't belong to me. My body moved on instinct, foot on the pedal, eyes on the road, while my mind replayed every word Emily had said. Not love me in a long time, tired of lying, staying out of guilt, not devotion. I had always believed heartbreak came loudly, like shouting or slammed doors or dramatic confessions. I never expected mine to arrive quietly from the backseat of my own car. By the time I got home, the house felt different. Nothing had changed physically. The framed wedding photos on the walls, the scent of Emily's vanilla candles, the faint hum of the dishwasher, but I felt like a stranger walking through someone else's life. I sat on the couch, the same couch where Emily used to fall asleep with her legs across my lap. I stared at the blank TV screen and tried to remember the last time she'd done that. Try to remember the last time she'd kissed me, without her mind drifting somewhere else. Minutes passed, maybe hours. When my phone buzzed, I glanced at it without much care. "Emily, on our way back soon. Want anything from the store?" I stared at the message. The normalcy of it, the casual tone of a woman who didn't know her entire truth, had spilled out in a dark car just an hour earlier. I typed out a simple "No, I'm fine," because anything else felt too revealing. When Emily came home, she was herself, gentle, polite, affectionate in small, predictable ways. She sat beside me, told me about Chloe's friend's new apartment, laughed lightly at a story I barely heard. Her voice felt like an echo from a life I no longer trusted. Every smile she gave me felt rehearsed. Every touch felt like a habit she hadn't broken yet. "Are you okay?" she finally asked, placing her hand on my arm. "You seem a little quiet." "I'm just tired," I said. She nodded, accepting the lie easily, unaware of the irony. That night, after she fell asleep, I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of her breathing against my shoulder. I wonder how many nights she had slept like this, next to me, yet not with me. I wonder when she had started drifting, what moment I had missed, what signs I had ignored, and more painfully, how long she'd been pretending. The next morning, I acted normal. I made coffee for both of us, kissed her forehead, asked about her plans for the day. I pretended, because I needed time to think, to breathe, to decide whether I was willing to hear the truth directly from her lips or whether knowing it secretly was enough to start letting go. For 2 days, I carried her words around like a bruise under my shirt, hidden but pulsing. Every moment with her felt sharper than usual. Her texts, her laughter, the way she thanked me when I handed her something, the way she said goodnight. I kept wondering, is this love or just politeness? Is she here out of choice or obligation? On the third evening, something small and unexpected pushed everything over the edge. We were sitting at the dining table, finishing dinner. She mentioned a co-worker's engagement, and as she talked about wedding planning and excitement and finding the right person, she slipped into a softness, a dreamy tone she never used with me anymore. When she finished, I asked quietly, "Do you ever think about us, our marriage?" Her fork paused midair. "Of course I do." "Why?" I held her gaze. "Are you happy with me, Em?" The question rattled her. She blinked quickly, like she needed a second to rearrange her expression. "Why would you ask that?" "Because I want the truth." Her shoulders slumped, her eyes lowering to her plate. Silence stretched between us, long and painful. Finally, she whispered, "I don't know." There it was. Not yes. Not even no. Just the kind of honesty that comes from someone who's run out of places to hide. I nodded slowly, feeling a quiet ache bloom inside me. "Then maybe we should figure out what that means." She looked up, eyes glistening. "Are you saying you're unhappy too?" I took a breath. "I'm saying I don't want to be someone you stay with because it's easier than leaving." Her lips trembled, and for a moment, she looked like she might break. "I never wanted to hurt you." "You already did," I said gently, "but not in the way you think." She wiped her eyes. "I never meant to fall out of love with you. I don't even know when it happened." I nodded again, more to myself than to her. I heard you, Emily. Her expression froze. Heard me? When? In the car. The other night. She went pale. The kind of pale that comes from realizing the truth has nowhere left to hide. She didn't speak for a long time, and when she finally did, her voice cracked open like something fragile breaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." I didn't get angry, didn't raise my voice, didn't accuse her of anything. I simply stood up from the table, walked around her side, and rested my hand gently on her shoulder. "Then let's stop pretending," I said softly. "Whatever happens next, it has to be real." She closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something honest between us. Painful, raw, but honest. Not love, not hate, just the truth finally finding air.